Hi everybody, it's Kamilah Rose from the Bliss Institute, and I am here to talk about the full moon in Capricorn coming up on June 28th, depending on where you are. This is going to be a really wonderful full moon. It is going to really be bringing us face to face with all the things that we always wanted, with that energy of the world, if you're familiar with tarot. And its cards and its what it symbolizes, the world, having gone through that journey and found ourselves, gone through our higher selves, our lower selves, our true selves, and coming back to being this, very whole being who's then ready to start over and go on a new journey and explore the world in a whole new way. So really taking those lessons that we've learned, and we'll head back to the full moon in Cancer from earlier this year, early 2018, during the winter season, and we're really getting that fruition, we're getting that culmination of that energy. During this time, we are moving towards retrograde season. It's almost here, and eclipse season comes right around the corner, starting with that partial solar eclipse in Cancer in July during the new moon. And so with this retrograde season kind of bringing these conversations about Capricorn energy and what that really looks like and how that manifests in many different ways when we have, look at these different planets. Let me pull them up really quickly. We have Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn, Jupiter in Scorpio, Neptune in Pisces, and Mars in Aquarius. These are all going to be in retrograde during this full moon, and for quite some time until Chiron joins them in July. And then we'll have six planets in retrograde during that time. And there's a lot of talk about retrogrades. First things to remember is that the general idea is that, okay, when it's retrograde, then things that are associated with that planet and that sign, it's a little bit more difficult. We meet a little bit more resistance. There's not as much flow for the energy. And that can be very true. It depends on what you have going on in your life, how you personally interact with different energies of different planets and different energies of different signs. So it's really important to know thyself, as they always say. Look up your astrological chart, see what planets you have in your chart, see what signs you have in your chart, see how you relate to these different signs. Me, as a person who has a sun in Libra, moon in Leo, and a Pisces rising, I react very differently to water signs, and I have the majority of planets in my astrology, my natal birth chart, astrology chart, are water signs. I have a lot of water, I have a lot of fire, I have one sad earth sign, and I believe it's out there in Neptune. It's Capricorn and Neptune, and it's pretty much the only thing that keeps me grounded and keeps me not from being a total just like artist who just lives off the land and does what she can and all this great stuff. So I was blessed with that, Capricorn and Neptune. But my energy will interact much differently with this earth energy, with this water, with this fire, with air energy, because of my personal energy and the way that I personally interact with these planets and with these seasons and with these astrological signs. So really knowing thyself is the most important thing. We can make generalizations all we want, but it's really great to figure out kind of how you are. Observe yourself, see what's going on, see if you feel a certain way. There was a lot that was happening last year, I believe it was last year, with the Leo eclipse and full solar eclipse in Leo, and how everyone was very like, oh my gosh, and this, that, and the other, and what does this mean? And it's so powerful. We could do this, we could do that. We work with manifestations, being really focused on what we want. I personally was like, okay, let's see what this is like, because I have a moon in Leo. So when the moon moves into Leo, when it's Leo's full moon, when it's Leo's new moon, I'm very at home. I'm very accustomed to this. I'm very into this energy. And then I again get another re-up whenever the moon is moving towards being new again. And it's in Leo because that's where the moon was when I was born. So I'm very used to that energy. I interact with that energy in a different way. So really honing in and understanding, like knowing what houses and things like that are important. They will influence and impact the way that you react and that you interact with these energies for the retrogrades and for the eclipse. But in general, we can speak in general. Capricorn is an earth sign. It's a grounding, stability. It's really taking that energy of being in the middle of winter. It's the darkest part of the season. It's the darkest part of our time. It's that time when we're really, we're questioning, will we make it? If we go back to those very traditional, you're planting in the spring, it's growing in the summer, you're harvesting during the fall, and then in winter, you're just kind of storage and rest time. So we were needing to really make sure that we prepared in spring. Did you prepare in spring? Did you really, take care of the things you were trying to grow during the summer? And did you have a bountiful harvest so that when that darkest time comes, you can look in your storehouse and see that you have enough. You have enough to get you through this time until the sun returns fully and you're able to start planting again. It's about that cycle, and it's a beautiful, lovely cycle. It's just, how do we interact? How are we a part of this cycle? How do we play into this cycle? So Capricorn is that light in the darkness. They are that bit of hope. They get it to borrow a little bit of that light during this full moon in Cancer season that's happening now during, summer solstice, and everybody's just, you're feeling, because it's hot, you're feeling alive. You can't help but feel alive because it's hot. They get to borrow a little bit of that light and they get to bring it with them, and then we get to see a little bit of it during the winter solstice when we need that light to help us through, to push us through to spring. And so we can't talk about Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn without talking about time, because we live in this Saturnian world that is very structured. It's about time. It's about, you only have so far, so long. You have to do things quickly because time is running out. So sayings such as, I'll sleep when I'm dead, you've only lived once, you gotta go, you gotta do. It really does play into that energy of that Saturn energy that's saying that we only have so much time, and then we try to elevate that into this divine timing, this sense of divine timing that we are exactly where we need to be. We're doing the things exactly the way we're supposed to be doing them, and then we will get to the point that when we're supposed to get there. It's all about divine timing and letting other factors fall into place and us doing our work that we're supposed to be doing so we can be ready when those opportunities arrive. So you have these two things that kind of come and they meet and they gel together, and we have to find a great way to find a balance between them so that we feel productive and we feel that we are honored and heard, and we are also able to work within this system of divine timing and understanding that only in this plane, only in this dimension, only in 3D, once you get to fourth dimension, once you get to fifth dimension, time is not the factors, Time doesn't affect things in the same way. And so once we move past that, it's just only in this realm that we really have to be concerned with that, because even this cycle, this seasonal cycle, is based upon time. It's based upon this idea that you go here and you go here and you go here. You plant the seed, you nurture the seed, you harvest the seed, you store and eat the seed. You continue the cycle over and over again. And when you're outside of time, those cycles don't really exist in the same way. They don't function in the same way because they don't have the parameters and the capacity in order to be able to maintain the structure needed to really operate within a time system. In time system, you're going to need for the planets to move a certain way. You're going to need for certain other rules to apply, because if they don't, then there's no point. There's nothing that's really reinforcing this idea of time. So as we move through that, we're looking at our plans. What is our purpose? What are we doing to feed our purpose, to nurture our purpose, to help it to grow so that when fall comes around, we are ready to harvest. Are you trying to move away from even needing to be caught up in that cycle, and you're just trying to find your own flow? You're trying to find your own groove. My personal New Year's is winter solstice. Everything I do correlates around winter solstice. It's a very powerful time for me, and that's really when I am able to, it's my new year. It's when I'm able to do the deepest amount of work and to find that spirit and that time of rebirth. Most folks view New Year's on January 31st. Other countries, other cultures view New Year's as the spring equinox, when the sun officially has been reborn. Easter falls around that time for a certain reason. So really finding that energy, that system that flows for you, that's right for you, is so important. And especially in this Cancer season, because everyone's feeling it. Everyone's feeling the time. Everyone's feeling the emotional draw in the pool. We're feeling it. We feel it. And there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of heavy stuff going on. And the retrogrades are like, slow down, because we want to speed up. We're worried about time. Worried about having enough time, or doing what we're supposed to be doing, or I'm supposed to be at this point at this age, and I'm supposed to have this certain amount. Like, that's all very Saturn energy. Saturn's all up in that, and it's like, yes, structure. You need this much. You need to prepare, security, stability. Make sure you can make it through the winter. That's what Saturn's bringing us into. That's what Capricorn's pulling us into. They're like, you must storehouse. You must be the squirrel who creates the storehouse, so that when the harsh winds of winter come, you can make it through into the spring. And yet we have all these other energies that are like, let's have fun, and we want to have fun. We want to be light. We don't want to think about these things, because it's summertime, and we're feeling that flow. We're feeling that nurturing energy of Cancer, and we're just wanting to take care of ourselves and have fun and go to the beach. Go to the beach and go on vacation. And it's like, no. Are you working? Are you preparing? Are you saving? Do you have a 401k? Do you have a trust fund set up for the kids? Do you have their college money saved? What about your house? Have you paid on your house? Do you have a plan for that? What about your car? Do you have a note for your car? Do you need a plan on that? Your mortgage, this, that, and the other. And you're like, take a deep breath. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine. Even though that energy is amping up, and we're seeing so many things that are, on one hand, emotionally drawing us in, and then having that very practical part of our brain that's like, this doesn't necessarily mean that things will end well, so let's prepare for that, so that we'll know. Yes, you want to prepare. Yes, you want to make sure that you're doing the things that you should, and checking off boxes and things like that. But letting that rule your life, because that is a Pluto. Digging in deep, those fears, getting those deep fears rooted in your psyche. That's that Pluto who's like, if you don't plan, if you don't save, you're going to be destitute. If you get sick, you're not going to have enough money to take care of yourself. If you're, old and frail, and you don't have money to send your kids off to college, then they're going to be those millennials complaining about how they can't find a job and how they can't afford rent. So we gotta do what we can. We have to sacrifice, so that we can. That's that Saturn. Sacrifice, so that we can make sure that when it's time for us to get the bounty, that we'll, not just you, but that your family, your loved ones, your village, your community will be able to survive, and will be able to flourish and to thrive. Oftentimes people operate off of this system of lack, and it comes from those fears from deep within. And then you get the joy of the Jupiter and Scorpio, which is like, woohoo, let's dance and fall through the underworld, and let's find out all these really great things that we need to work on. And then Neptune and Pisces is just like, I'm going to just send you really great, wonderful things for you to, beautiful things, beautiful people, beautiful stories and systems and ways of expressing yourself, and they might not be real, but it'll be fun for a little while. And Mars in Aquarius is just like, this is all a bunch of crap. This is all a bunch of crap. There's so many better ways we can do this. I'm not putting up with this anymore, and I'm gonna be really innovative, but I'm not going to take any more crap. And I'm going to find a really interesting, really new way to look at these things and to examine these issues, and to go about making sure that I'm getting my needs met, and that I am prepared if there is any form of aggression or something, conflict conflict. I'm a conflict theorist. I love the idea of conflict, and that I really do believe that conflict does drive people to change. It is one of the few things that will drive people to change, because it pulls on us. It pulls on our hearts, it pulls on our minds, it pulls on our energy when we are in conflict. If you've ever been in a fight with anyone about anything, a stressful situation, that's conflict. And that conflict was like, I will not be ignored until you do something to resolve this issue. And whether that is an internalized reaction or an external one, in that you talk it out, or you get into an argument, or you fight, or something like that, or internalized depression, stress, anxiety, all types of issues, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, you start having physical ailments. That conflict is that conflict, and it will drive you to do something. Something will have to happen, because the valve will have to balance out. You will have to find a way to find that balance. And now we're being pushed to this really, like, how do we do this in a creative way? How do we do this in a, Aquarius is the water bearer. So they take this knowledge. We have Geminis who are sitting here, and they're with the people. They are the people. They have the minds of the people. And Libra, who's like, all right, there's been a lot going on, and I got to balance all this out. I'm in the middle, and it's time for this to balance this external and this internal. And I see all the options. I see all the things that we've worked on and gathered. Thank you, Virgo, for sorting and analyzing these things out. And now it's time for me to weigh these things, these manifestations on this scale, so that we can see what all we need to work on and what all is good to go. Go into the storage unit, and what needs to maybe be, given off to the animals or something on the farm. And then we get Aquarius, who is like, all right, so we've done the scales, and we've seen the things that need some work, and we've seen the things that work really well. And how do we apply this? How do we use this on a larger scale? How do we use this to improve our society? What can we do with this? How does this spark this wave of creativity, so that we can take this into our psyches and move from that micro to the macro, from that doing our own individual work to doing that collective soul work for the greater good? That's that switch that we make from that Libra energy. Libra is taking us from that individual to the community, to the greater good, to helping out everyone, and realizing that, scales are not, they weigh, but they do not judge. They are not sitting here trying to figure out which one is good or bad, or right or wrong. They're just weighing. They're just saying, okay, this is the way it's supposed to be, or this is lacking. Maybe this needs more work, or, what have we done? What have we brought out? Let's see it for what it really is, and let's see how much weight it holds. Is it heavy? Is it something that we are trying to unburden ourselves of, or is it light? Does it give us life? Does it make us exciting? It just depends. And so you've got this really kind of like area for weighing things, for judgment. And then you have, okay, well, now that we've seen what we've got, how do we change it? What do we do with it? What do we really do with it? Before we get into the land of imagination and fun with Pisces, where it's like, okay, we're swimming with the fishes, and we're figuring out, we've got this idea, and we're seeing what needs to be done. And now let's dream about how we can make that a real thing before we head into Aries again and actually start doing some of the work. So it's this beautiful kind of process, this lovely story to tell. And since we've got this really great energy coming up, I see a lot of folks there's a lot of emotional things happening. People are going through intense personal emotional times. They're going through very intense social emotional times. There's just a lot going on. There's way more that, people are encountering than maybe they have before. Just working through these conflicts, being able to truly express themselves and be heard. When we hold on to things because we're worried about, we're placing other people's feelings or other people's experience above our own, we are more concerned with being nice, being seen in a certain way, coming across in a certain way. It doesn't really help us very much. And we end up in these situations that kind of blow up in our faces. We let people get away with things that are not kind. You know, we're sitting here trying to be kind, trying to be forgiving, trying to be loving, and then other people are not everyone, of course, but just certain times, others can take advantage of this and use this for their own good, because in the back of their mind, they're like, of course I can do this. They're not going to say anything. They're not going to do anything. They're too nice for that. Oh, she's too kind for that. Oh, it's not going to matter. She'll do it. Ask so-and-so. She's not going to say no. Ask him. He'll do it. He'll help you with everything. He helps me with everything. Oh my gosh, I call him in the middle of the night and he's just rushing over to help me out. Like, it's great. It's wonderful. You know, but you're not giving the same in return. It's not an equal relationship. It's not reciprocal in nature. You know, balance. Balance. So important. Cancer and Capricorn, in a sense, you know, all of it, in Aries as well, but in a sense, all of these signs that are these cardinal signs do a bit of that weighing. They do a little bit of that, making sure that there's a balance going on in this system, and we hit it quarterly. And Cancer saying, am I giving myself enough? Am I nurturing myself? Am I loving myself? And am I loving those in my home? Our physical bodies. And then Capricorn says, have I done enough? Have I really put in the work? And will I be able to survive? Will this really carry me through? And they're weighing that scale. You know, they're looking at the harvest that they took back and they're saying, was it enough? And so really taking that moment to ask yourself during this full moon, have I been kind to myself first? Making sure that I'm taken care of. We love everyone. We want everyone to be taken care of. But am I taken care of? Have I done what I needed? Do I need to rest? Do I need to sleep? Do I need to draw? Do I need to be creative? Is it time for me to go and talk to the loan manager so I can see about starting this business? Is it time for me to start moving towards doing my own thing? Is it time for me to really sit down and have these conversations with people who I need to set up firm boundaries with? That conversation, it's time to have that conversation in a very real way during the winter when the trees are bare and maybe sound has been slightly muted through snow if it snows where you are. There's no hiding there's nowhere to hide. Where are you gonna hide? I mean, even in the snow, everything's white, so anything with color you're gonna see. The trees are bare. There's no hiding. So you have to take a look at these things for what they really are. Take a look at what's really going on. Do so gently. Be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself, but be real with yourself. You know, Neptune and Pisces is going to give us these moments where we're getting these lovely, you know, encounters that are like dreams coming true. But are you asking the questions that need to be asked? Are you really looking into what's coming up? Because the things that you might sign on for during these retrogrades, during these eclipse season, when it comes time for the harvest, they might not turn out to be what you thought you were going to be receiving. It might not work out the way you thought it would. It's not a matter of being fearful or turning down opportunities or any of that. It's a matter of doing the work, going through the process, asking the right questions, taking your time, moving yourself out of that framework of, I have to hurry, I have to rush, this is my chance. There's always so many chances. There's nothing but chances. Every breath that you breathe is a chance to have a different thought, to make a different action, to be in a different space, even if it's only energetically. So you're never running out. It's just not a thing. It's not real. Just as so much of this isn't real. So choose wisely. Discernment. Discern where it is you need to put your energy, where it is you need to put your time. Go slow and connect with who you are and your abilities. We all have strong intuitions. We all have some gifts. We all have ways that we connect with the world and with spirit or source or God. use that. It's so here for you. It's so here for you to help you in this guidance system. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust yourself and trust the universe. Trust the world. Trust God to bring you back the things that you're putting out there. And stay strong. You know, when things are hard, sometimes we want to give up. And maybe, you know, take the break. Take the break. Say, I can't do this right now. And take the break. Take the break so you can come back. You can come back and be on it. You're on it. You're ready to go. And if you come back and you're still like, I'm not feeling this. Maybe it's something that when you're weighing those scales in the fall, maybe it falls on the scale. It's like, okay, well, we're going to use this for fertilizer for the spring. This isn't coming with us. But it's okay. We live, we learn, we grow. That's what we do. That's what this journey is all about. So, happy full moon in Capricorn. I hope you have a great time. Take care of yourselves. I love you. Bye-bye.